Hi, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the special board meeting today. And today we'll receive two updates from the from the chairs of the golf renovation and the facilities improvement subcommittees. I really would like to first just start off today by thanking publicly and applauding publicly the members of those two subcommittees who are working diligently and long hours to develop a plan that's going to be meet the needs of what we are trying to achieve and make sure that it's workable. And I really wanted to stop and say thank you for all of your help dealing with this. We really appreciate your hard work. We also want to, Ben, can you put on the screen how people can ask questions? There it is. Okay. Well, the other thing that's one of the key ingredients to the success of this whole project is to make sure that the membership at large understands what we're doing and buys into what we're doing. And so if you have any questions whatsoever or comments, please, during this meeting, please just go to this page right here, click on, write your question, and we will get back to you. We'll do the questions after both presentations are made. And then even after the meeting is over, if you have any questions or comments, please send a note to the board or send it to Tim, and we will get back to you. Okay. So, Gail, why don't we go with you first to make the first report, the first update, okay?
Okay, thank you, Jim, and thank you for your thanks to our committees who are working extremely hard. Since our last update in February, we have been working very diligently to come to some concepts that we can share with members at the town hall, and we think we're just about there. I want to just remind everybody that all of our meeting minutes are available on the Stonebridge website. So if you want to have more timely information, you can go there and read our minute. So during the last month, we've reviewed the 4th and 5th iterations of our design. This week, we expect more detailed layouts for the fitness and some of the meeting rooms this week, and hopefully we'll see them tomorrow. As I said, we're very close. We have some concepts now that just need a few tweaks that we feel very excited about, and the team is very much looking forward to sharing them with the membership next month. As I said, they'll be presented at the April Town Hall. I just want to say these are not necessarily the final design concepts. We want your input and feedback, and from there we'll come back and work as the golf course subcommittee did with their architect to make some refinements and bring to an ideal plan and concept that we can present this fall for a vote. We've provided the content for the two of the last Bridging the Futures, the 8th and 9th, that had questions related to club facilities. And we continue to build out our FAQs based on member questions and comments. To date, we've made field visits to 10 clubs. These are clubs that have had recent or fairly recent renovations. We wanted to look at, in addition to some ideas on design, how the different facilities were positioned with each other. Given our limited footprint, we wanted to look at, how close is their outdoor bistro cafe to the pool, and how do those areas all integrate with each other? I think last month I presented some of the lessons learned that Tim spoke to, which is allocating an appropriate budget, some comparable to our current furnishings and finishes, but making sure we have the budget for that. And I want to say one of the other things that we want to avoid are missed opportunities. In going to some of these clubs and looking at the renovations, some of them are, probably didn't think about a wow factor when they put beams up and left them the same color as the ceiling. You really, even though you can see the beams, if you look up there, they they didn't stand out, et cetera. So I just think we want to pay attention that we don't want to go crazy, but we want to have a design that members will be really happy with. Of course, the focus is on the casual indoor-outdoor dining. Fitness sizes vary greatly. Some clubs have more than one classroom. Some have physical therapy and massage rooms, and their GMs state they're very well utilized. One of the other things that we learned going out is that we need to make sure that we provide adequate storage, not only for the food, but we also needed to provide the appropriate storage for kitchen, fitness, or other equipment such as pool equipment that we have. We need to make sure that, for example, in the fitness center, there isn't equipment on the floor taking up stretching space, et cetera. So that's one of the other findings we had. And then finally, the budget is on track. Our spend to date is through February is about $32,000, solely based on owner's rep and the architect. All the input we've had from kitchen and fitness consultants, et cetera, has been done gratis to date. Of course, they're hoping to get our business when we actually go to equip facilities, but we have not had to expend any money so far, or at least through February. I haven't seen March, but so far to date. So if you go to the next slide, Ben, please. I think our next steps really are reviewing the updated design concepts. We're going to see them tomorrow. Then we need to tweak them if we need to, but finalize them for our member review at the April town hall, and then prepare for that town hall where we're going to share them with you. And then I want to say finalize the FAQ document, but the FAQ document never seems to be totally finalized. As we get new questions, we're always updating and adding them, and of course coordinating with golf and communications team to get the information out to members. We want to prepare for the next club facilities update. Next week will be a recap of this meeting, but beyond that, bridging the future and the weekly Q&A when it's our turn next, and continue to track the budget. So with that, I open it up to any questions from the board.
Dan.
I have a question. Look, and it's probably my ineptitude with working with the website, but when I go to the website and look for the minutes of the Facility Improvement Committee, all I see is 3 sets of minutes, and they're all from November 2020. Am I looking in the wrong place?
You have to link, if you go into that, the first button that takes you to the home page, then you have to click on the club facilities button that's up on the right-hand side. And that will take you to the page of club facilities, and the minutes of another link will be to all the minutes. I think there should be 13 sets of minutes on there. We'll put the last set of minutes on to after they're approved tomorrow, because we have weekly meetings and we publish the minutes as soon as we can thereafter by the next week or so.
Okay, I'll figure it
If
out.
you have any trouble, let me know, because I think you should be able to find them. Because the button, I don't know if it was marked committee minutes before, but it is now.
Okay, thanks.
Gail, I have a question.
Yes.
It's Kathy Taylor. When the town hall meeting is going to happen in April, and a design concept will be shown to the members, will there be a dollar figure attached to that design concept?
There will be, I think Jeff is going to get some estimates from a general contractor so that people can have a sense of how much it's going to cost.
And will those estimates be broken out as to each facility, or will it be, this is the concept and this is the cost, or estimated cost?
Well, I would imagine, because we have an idea of how much some things cost now, that it'll be by facility.
Okay,
Just like itemized like it is with the golf course.
Right. Good.
Okay.
No
Any
mystery.
other questions from the board? I'd like to ask just off of Dan's question, is there a way to put in the homepage, some sort of shortcut to get to certain things? For example, the plan itself and or those minutes? That's probably not for the board to decide, but Tim and Ben and
Yeah, no, we're trying to keep it as clean as possible. Trying to keep it simple. Maybe it's overly simplified, but on the members homepage, there's a link on the left-hand margin specific to facilities improvement ad hoc. We didn't want members to have to find it through the committee's page and, you know, go through that layer. So there's a direct link from the homepage to the facilities ad hoc. And then on that page, as Mrs. Fisher mentioned before, we have 2 buttons basically set up to separate the facilities from the golf course. And within those pages, we've got the minutes from those separate committees. We also have a button for all the bridging to the future archives, the FAQs, and then the general information as far as the golf course plans and things like that. So I think if we moved all of those buttons to the main page, it's just going to put more content on the front than we need. I mean, one thing that we could do, just to make it even that much easier to find the facilities page, we could add it to the banner on top. So on the home page, there's a banner that goes across the top. So we could put a link directly to that facilities page on the banner. Maybe that would help just to make it that much easier.
that's the kind of thing I was thinking about, right?
Yeah, we can do that for sure.
Okay. All right, great. Let's hold off questions from the membership until, Tom, you can do your golf, and then we'll put everybody together. Whichever questions come in first, we'll do those. Okay? So Tom, if you're up.
Sure. So I can update everybody on really what's happened since the last special board meeting, which was on February 18th. Soon after that, the 23rd, our committee met and did a final review of the final input from the membership that was sent into us online. We got that done, and there were no other real big changes. It was kind of a confirmation of what we had seen the first time we did the review with the bulk of the information. After that, we agreed to meet specifically with Mark Metzger to get a sense of his sense of the golf course, maintenance, etc. We did that meeting on March 2nd. We reconvened again on March 9th, and at that point reviewed Mark's input, agreed basically to a one-pager that talked about all the issues and changes that exist, and then agreed that it was now time for us to engage with the architect again. So on the 16th, which was 2 days ago, Tuesday, Bob Henry and myself met with Kip Schulteis, our architect, and reviewed all the member feedback with him, or the key member feedback that we had put together, and talked about changes to the initial master plan that he had provided to us. We met for a couple of hours, discussed the changes that we thought were necessary, went out to the golf course, rode around with him for a little while. He is in town right now working at a golf course called Palmera, and so he is renovating that course, so he is available to us on occasion. So we went out to the golf course, looked around. One of the things we were looking for was where to put a stone bridge. It's not as obvious as we all wish it were, but hopefully we will be able to find the right spot. One of the things we all have to understand is as we make one change on a particular hole, there really is a domino effect in that can then require additional changes on other holes that are adjacent to a particular hole. So it will be a moving target for a little while. Mr. Schulteis will be providing us a revised initial master plan, and that will be the document that we will hopefully that will represent the changes that we have given him this last week. A couple learnings and comments just to share with everybody. We get a lot of questions regarding turf. What kind of grass are we going to have on the golf course going forward? And that's a decision that will not be made for quite a while. But just to tell our group here and whoever's listening is the TIF Eagle grass that is on our putting surface is a very good grass. And the fact that our greens are as great as they are and have been for as long as they have been, when they did it in 2010, they made a really good choice to put TIF Eagle in because it has performed very, very well. The rest of the golf course, meaning everything but the greens, that's tees, fairways, rough, everything else is Celebration. And again, that's another time-tested grass. This summer, we're going to take the second fairway and we're going to put some test plots out there of 3 different fairway seed. And just to grow them there and test them over the summer. So that will help give us some idea about what's the right surface for our course and our conditions. Another thing just to clarify, I want to make sure everyone understands when we talk about refurbishing the golf course, it is going to happen to every hole. There will not be changes necessarily to every hole. But on every hole, the current surface grass will be killed. The first 6 to 10 inches of dirt, whatever you want to call it, will be taken off. This will happen on the tees, the greens, fairway, everywhere, on every hole, whether there's any reshaping or not. So you have to understand that it's not that we can exclude a couple of holes here that are good and not do the job. We're going to do the job on every hole. And just as a side comment to that, to rebuild a putting surface, a green, if we decide to move the green or somebody decides to move the green 10 yards to the right, it costs absolutely no more money to rebuild it 10 yards to the right than where it is right now, okay? So just so everyone understands the magnitude of the effort, everything will be gone. It will be new sand, etc., and organic matter will be brought in and then rebuilt. When you think about what was for those of us who have been here since 2010, the concept is very much the same. We will be doing some different processes than 2010, but if you think about some of the berms that were built up to help block the balls from rolling into the water hazards, when you think of some of the reshaping of the greens, the dramatic ones on 10, 11, 15, changes were made in 2010, just in the reshaping because everything was gone at that time. The digging of and filling of ponds, okay? It is not an expensive proposition. Many of the emails that we get talk about not wanting to spend money on new ponds and filling in old ponds. 3% of the budget, about 3% of the budget is focused on the movement of water, okay? We talked about this subject in depth on Tuesday with Mark and with the architect and confirmed that it is just routine business. I mean, you think of I don't know how many lakes we have out there now. It seems like there's 18, there's one on every hole, but somehow those got there for a reasonable sum, but it's about 3% of the budget will be focused on that. We have no metric that says for every square foot of surface you replace, it costs X. But it is, like I said, about 3% of the budget. It's going to be in the $225,000, $250,000 range for all of the pond work that we see, whether it's a new pond or an old pond. So that's just for everyone's information. When people are talking about this, the digging of the ponds or filling in of a pond is not really a big financial matter. The big value or purpose of that is to allow us to take advantage of every square foot of golf course landmass that we possibly can. When you think about driving off the tee on 3, when you think about driving off the tee on 4, when you think about the turn to the left on 7, where everyone hits up in front of that water, there are many, many places where we need as much widening as we can so that we can have those carts driven in a little bit of a scatter mode, which would help us. Stone Bridge, again, here's another thing. Like I said, we were looking for a spot to put the Stone Bridge. Not sure whether we'll find a spot. A good stone bridge that we would build is in the ballpark of about $125,000 to $150,000. It is not $1 million. We have had conversations that a bridge that we would quote contemplate as $1 million. It's not. It's about $125,000. So there's another thing just for us to know and to make sure that anybody we talk to is basically aware of those kind of ballpark figures. There have been some emails about, are we going to make the golf course easy or too easy for everybody? And one way to answer that is we just had the men's club championship this week and the women's too. But in the men's club championship from the 2 tees, we had 2 players break 80 both those days, okay? They were able to do it twice. So out of the 1,000 golfers we have here, we only have 2 players that are members that could break 80 2 days in a row. So we have a very difficult golf course out there. And I am not concerned about making it too easy for us. For the members who played in the tournament from the 3 tees, the black balls, the 4 tees, nobody broke 80. So we do have a beautiful, tough golf course out there, and it will remain that way. I guess my last comment would be the, our next step as a subcommittee is to do the back and forth with Mr. Schulteis. He's going to be doing a revised initial master plan, and we will be communicating with him, during the next month, 6 weeks to edit that and then be able to provide the revised plan to you folks in the membership. And that's pretty much where we are, Jim.
All right, thank you, Tom. Board members, questions, comments?
I have a question.
Sandy.
Tom, you had mentioned that to do all the important basics, the tees, the fairways, the greens, and the bulkheads, that was $3.25 million. If the bridge is $125 to $150, you still have left over basically $2.125 million. If you're saying it's such a small percent to move greens or to move water, what is the bulk of that $2.1 million?
Well, I guess we could get the budget of line items. We will be doing irrigation work in this. There are new culverts that would be built on 5 and 17, I think. But there are significant additional costs. That 3.25 is just a number that came from here, okay? So just to rehab the golf course, we do not have sufficient reserves to rely on them alone simply to rehab the golf course. It would require more than that.
And Mr. Pinkerton, I could just add to that too. It's not all of the bulkheads that would be replaced if we were just replacing grass. Some of our bulkheads have been replaced over the years. The original bulkheads, or the oldest of the bulkheads, would need to be replaced regardless in 23, but not all of the bulkheads. So if we were to leave the golf course exactly where it is, not all of the bulkheads would need to be done. That's a very substantial expense on bulkheads.
I have a question, Tom. When talk about moving water as if it's no big thing. My experience with regulatory agencies, and this was in New Jersey, not Florida, but I doubt there's very much difference. My experience with regulatory agencies were very challenging when it came to any change to stormwater management. And in Florida, I think we have to answer to several different agencies with regard to stormwater management. So when you say there's not a lot involved, are you including the calculating the engineering costs that come into that?
I guess what I'm referring to, Dan, is the physical process of moving water is not a tricky thing. We have a very complicated piece of land out here. It contains 3, quote, water basins, which all we must maintain the same amount of surface water in each of those 3 basins. So as I said, if we make a change on one hole, that could be a domino effect to make us change another hole to make sure that we have the same amount of surface water. So yes, there is tremendous permitting and scrutiny of the ending product, okay? All I'm referring to is the physical process of digging a hole. But you are right, we will have to comply stringently to the requirement of surface water. And that's why we have such a complicated piece of property here, okay? If you've got 18 fairways that are 70 yards wide, you've got a lot more leeway to work with. We don't. This will be very complicated, and that's why every little change dictates other change.
Yes, Sandy.
I think you're on mute.
Mute, Sandy.
Sorry. When you
Sure.
met with the architect, I know there have been a lot of comments from homeowners from your survey about moving water in front of their properties. Were those taken into consideration? And if they were or weren't, when are you going to let those homeowners know what's happening? I think it would be better to let people know before the town hall than at the town hall.
Okay. We were very sensitive to people's comments as a committee about impacting their view, for lack of a better word, I guess. So yes, the answer is yes, we were very sensitive. There will be, I mean, we've got a community of 800 people here. There's going to be a number of people who are not pleased with the outcome. And that's the hard balance. Anytime you do anything like this, I mean, we're trying to balance for the betterment of the community as a whole. And there will certainly be individuals who are not pleased with the result. And that's, I guess that's part of our job as the board, make decisions as to, what is the best thing for the community as a whole.
But are you going to let those homeowners know prior to the town hall? I think it might be better.
I don't know that we will have the next iteration before the town hall, Sandy.
Okay.
Anyone else? Questions? Thank you, Tom.
We won't have the architect's changes by the town hall?
It's possible. When we talked yesterday, we were looking at 4 to 6 weeks. I mean, to your earlier point, Dan, there are significant considerations that have to be balanced in terms of, okay, if we're not going to put water here, where does that impact us on the rest of the golf course? I guess it's pretty complicated, I guess.
I think the board should see it before that town hall. How can we support it if we've never seen it?
We may not have it at the town hall. There may be nothing to see at the town hall.
Well, then we might have to postpone the town hall.
Yeah, there's
Better
a
to
thought.
do it, better to
We
do
will-
it right
We
than
will
to
certainly,
not do it right. if we can't have it, we can't have it. It's much more important that the design that is produced and shown to our members is what we've agreed upon.
Hopefully,
I don't think the town hall needs to be set in stone.
and prior to that, we will certainly have some, we are, like I said, we'll be working with the architect over the next 4 to 6 weeks, on and off, to try to see what kind of progress we're making. So I am confident that at the town hall, we will be able to, if nothing else, show the existing proposal along with agreed upon changes to that. And that's kind of, Sandy, to your earlier point, letting people know where we stand.
Gail, you're going to have a concept plan to show members by the time of the town hall, aren't you?
I'm sorry, Dan, could you repeat that?
Gail.
I was talking to me. Well, I was going to say, hopefully I wouldn't want to shut the town hall down if we have a facilities concept, because we need to have input from the members on that before the architect pushes forward with final drawings or renderings or whatever. So I'm hoping that, I mean, if Tom's going to be delayed by a week, many members are here and they may go home, but we know we do a lot of these things online, but some may want to attend in person. But I'm hoping we can do it. If it's not a big delay, we could probably push it back a week or so. But I mean, that's our goal. Our target is to have a plan for members to react to sometime in April. So I leave that to you, Jim and Tim, to decide whether we should postpone everything if we don't have the golf course plan.
Yeah. Kathy?
Tom, along with the plan, if we can get there for the town hall or something to present to members, will we have an idea along with that plan of a figure or a cost for that?
Yeah, I think we will, Kathy.
Okay.
There's not a lot that's going to change.
Okay.
I mean, like, as I said earlier, even if we did not move a bucket of water, that would only drop $250,000, say, out of the plan or out of the current budget, so to speak.
Right.
So,
Right.
yeah, I think we'll have money in ballpark.
So then are we going to coordinate prior to the meeting the cost analysis between the golf course and the facilities so that when we present it at town hall meeting, we'll have an overall cost that will stay within the budget that we've agreed to for members, the 110 per month per member?
Yeah, yes. The short answer is yes. We're going to have some get-togethers so that we can, in fact, understand as a board what we're looking at and make certain decisions. But I don't want to, I'm trying to think who said, maybe Kathy said the town hall is not in stone. It may be we have the town hall, but we also have another meeting. If we're not ready to go, it's good to give what information we have to everybody. But if we have to do a second town hall, I don't think I would rather do that than cancel it and move it at this point in time.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Dan, you have another thought on that or no?
My only thought is to echo what Sandy said, and I'm kind of surprised to hear that we're not committed to some tangible, although conceptual, presentation for the town hall. But whatever we have, I'd like the board to see it before we present it to the members.
That's correct. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's, yes, that will happen.
Yeah, I agree. I think we will do that. We'll work everywhere we can to make sure that everybody on the board knows what's coming up. And so there's nobody sitting there at whichever town hall meeting we decide that it's going to be a big surprise. Oh, well, hold on a minute. I didn't agree to that. We want to be unified. And the only way to be unified is to have everybody understand what we're trying to do and what cost. And we'll try not to slow Gail's situation down if she's a little ahead of Tom at this point. All right. Any other questions from the board? We'll leave it open to the community.
I've got a question from Mr. Borden, who's on the member side. He couldn't log in as a panelist. He wanted to know, Mr. Pinkerton, if we have a summary of the recommended changes that the members suggested whole by whole.
Yes, we do. I mean, that's what we shared with Mr. Schulteis on Tuesday.
Is Max asking that we as a board see that summary?
I thought that's what he asked, yeah. Seems to make sense. Keep
Yeah,
up to date.
if I can send it to everybody.
That'd be great.
Yeah, let's do that, Tom. With the
Okay.
full understanding that we know what the summary of their comments are. It's being addressed, but we really can't just say, oh yeah, this is a yes, that's a no, et cetera. Can't get that. It's too early in the process, Tom. Is that correct?
I think so.
Okay,
I agree.
great. Another one, Ben?
All right, this question's from Carol Gaffney. She asks, what considerations are in place for nearby residents, especially Ashton Oaks, for no increase in noise, light, and visuals?
I think that's Gail.
Well, on the first day we met with the architect, we apprised him of the concerns of the residents in Ashton Oaks. So I have offered to Dan to have a private session with the members of, especially in the first buildings that are maybe most affected by any changes. But right now, the way it stands, I'm not certain that there would be a huge increase in the level of noise, except the bistro will probably be a little closer, but it won't be necessarily, it won't be out over the water or anything like that. So we'll have to wait and see, but we've done everything in mind with the people that live in Ashton Oaks, everything that we've done.
Good answer.
That's all I can say.
Yep.
Have to wait and see. No, I'll be happy.
That's fair at this point, yeah. Okay, Ben, next one?
Yep, next question is from Peter Flato. It says, Tom, please explain why some homeowners will be adversely affected and that is okay.
It's not okay that some homeowners will be adversely affected. And I guess it's all in the eye of the beholder, whether they're adversely impacted or not. I mean, we want this to be a positive experience for the entire club. And there is no intent to have this be a negative experience for anyone. I guess that would be my answer. I don't know if there's a better answer than that. I mean, it's not okay.
I think maybe what we need to bear in mind that no one is sitting making plans saying, you know, let's make sure that these folks have their view impacted negatively or anything like that. I think what we also have to keep in mind is that in any organization or in any group, there is a likelihood that 10% of any group is not going to be happy with decisions that are made. And if we can keep that to 10% or less, I think we will have done our job. But it is a Pollyanna attitude to think that we are going to be able to present a plan that all the members are going to be thrilled with. We have to do our best. We just have to do our best. And like I said, no one is out to say, let's make sure that these folks lose what they have or what they have is impacted negatively by any changes that we make.
Well said, Kathy. Ben, next one.
This one's more of a comment from Richard Boning. He says the town hall should not be postponed since many members will be leaving.
Well, as I said, I'm not yet convinced that we should cancel it or even move it, but we may have to have it with limited information and have another one once we get a little bit closer and can make some informed decisions. We don't want to make any decisions based on suppositions or anything of that sort. Want me to get that phone call, whoever that was?
I can't stop it.
That's Mr. Boning.
Next question is from Carol Gaffney. She asks, will the board also see the facilities plan prior to the meeting?
Yes.
Okay. Next question.
This one's from Hank White. Tom speaks that it's really not a big deal to move water. As an attorney who had been involved in maritime matters for almost 40 years, there are significant challenges to this issue. I would be happy to engage with the committee to resolve this issue.
That would be great. If somebody has knowledge that can help us, we're wide open.
This one, next question is from Michael Head. It says, do you know how many golfers actually want to move the 2 tees that are not already?
Sorry, Ben, could you say that again?
It says, do we know how many golfers actually want to move the 2 tees?
I'm not exactly clear what he's asking.
Oh, Ben, I think we're just missing a word there. Do we know how many golfers actually want to move to the 2 tees that are not already playing from there?
No, we don't. I mean, an ideal, like in the club championship, just for everyone's information, usually you'd play that off the back tees, the number 1 tees at a club. We couldn't do that because nobody can play from the number 1 tees at our club because there are several holes that are built the way they were built. So we had to play from the 2 tees. It would be ideal if we had some members playing from the 1s, some from the 2s, some from the 3s, some from, I guess, the black balls and the 4s. It would be great if we could spread out that play. And that's one of the benefits of the opportunity that we have to try to reconfigure the golf course a little bit.
Now, Tom, isn't that an issue also of wearability, that the golf course wears out quicker in spots if everybody's ball from every tee box lands in the same place?
That's true. And I mean, you see it, even you see it at the highest level on the PGA Tour on the weekend. Right. You see lots of divot marks right in the same place off the tee. In our case, we've got lots and lots of golfers hitting from very congested area into a congested area, which is a difficult combination.
Right.
Tom, you explained to me too, and I thought it was a very good explanation, that if changes are made for that very reason, for the reason that you just said, because the majority of the men play from the 3 or the black ball tees, if it became as challenging without being more challenging to play from the 2 tees, some of those fellows playing from the 3s would move back to the 2s, and that would certainly help that same issue that you were talking about. I had not thought about that until you and another one on your fellow on your committee explained that to me, and that makes a whole lot of sense. And when you said hole number 7 at the corner, where many of the ladies hit there on their tee shot, all of that traffic going through that very narrow area, creates a situation where it's difficult to hit the ball off of that turf. So move that lake, move that water out. I mean, the turf out into that lake a little bit, widen that area, and it
Right.
makes it better for everybody.
Right.
And it is a hope, Kathy, that some players would maybe extend where they're playing from right now, if it becomes more playable for them. And 7 is a very good example of how, just taking that water and moving it 10 or 15 yards to the left is a thoughtful decision.
It would be a good decision to make, in my opinion.
And that's where the balance comes in between a particular homeowner's desire to preserve whatever they have, whether it's water or no water, and whether or not it's better for the golf course and the maintenance, et cetera, and the wearability. And that's where we have to make those difficult decisions. When we get there, the architect would say, well, we're going to do such and such to this hole because these are the reasons. And
Right.
until we get that conversation going, you can't judge and say, oh, that's a terrible idea, because you have to see what the impact is of not doing that.
Right.
Ben, another one?
Yeah, I got another one from Carol Gaffney. She says, it seems it would be beneficial for the architect to visit Ashton Oaks property during the day on weekend nights prior to design in order to consider us proactively. It would also cost less than changing a design later.
Gail and Dan, you want to be talking about Ashton Oaks?
I think that maybe I'm not understanding her question, but the architect has walked the property of the footprint of the clubhouse during the daytime. Tim, I don't know if that's what she's asking.
Well, he could come to my lanai on a Friday night, but I'm worried the club would become liable for his hearing loss.
Well, I mean, you'll have to see the plan and decide what you think about it then, because we're trying to keep as much noise, light, etc., extra facility away from Ashton Oaks as possible. So I think unless I'm not sure at this point. I mean, if Carol's asking, can he come over and meet with you before then? I don't know what her question is. If that's her question, or if her question is, has he even looked at it?
She's saying I would like him to come to the AL property, not the clubhouse.
Gail, is it fair to say that some of these fears are based on the master site plan committee's options that were discussed 3 years ago, and that the only drawing I've seen from your committee did seem to move the what I'll call the noisiest aspect of the extension, seemed to move it farther away from the Ashton Oaks home than the master site plan did. So it looks as if there is some consideration for that already in place.
The original drawing that plans that I think you saw, Dan, had the architect was under the impression that the bump out of the bulkhead was going to be further into the lake than what was approved. So when the original plan was drawn, it was drawn much closer to Ashton Oaks. But let me just say one thing about, excuse me for 1 second. Sorry. The plan, I've had some questions from members that are under the impression that the Peacock and Lewis plans are what we're using for as current designs. And I can assure everybody that they are not. There's a fitness center that's shown on there that's gigantic and that we're not going to build. They also show the bistro out over the water, and that's not going to happen. So if you're concerned about noise from that perspective, we don't have any plans to build a gigantic fitness center or to build the bistro out over the water. And then, as I say, that first drawing showed the the bistro pushed much closer to Ashton Oaks than it will be when you see, hopefully when you see the plans at the town hall.
Right. And I think it's fair to say we won't be changing the hours of the bistro. I mean, everything else will remain the same.
I'll leave that to Tim to answer.
No, I definitely foresee the bistro continuing to be lunch and dinner every day.
Right.
But Tim, I think the question is that the bistro won't be open till midnight on Friday nights.
Right. Whenever it closes.
Can I say one more thing about the bistro? When we build the bistro for expanded capacity, there's still going to be a lot of seats outside. So and while we hope to build it with nano doors that can be open, I'm not sure that if about the same number of people can sit in and out that currently can sit in and out, or a few more, that it's going to substantially change the number of people that sit at the bistro at any one point in time, but there may be more people sitting inside. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully it does.
Yeah, and the committee too has talked about, with the reconfiguration of that area, some opportunity to even move, where the entertainment is when we have entertainment out there. And they're also, have an effort towards how it incorporates with the pool and having the ability to have more kind of flex space, where you could have areas where if there's functions going on, entertainment and things like that. So, I can say, because I've been at all the meetings, to Mrs. Gaffney's concern, the committee definitely has that on the front of their mind. It seems like with every option and tweak and change that we talk about, Ashton Oaks does come up. So it certainly has been a topic. And for the entertainment, I think Ben said we were going to have a DJ till 2 a.m, but I could have been wrong. No, the hours for the entertainment would be the same as what we've been doing.
We're trying to get after that younger demographic, Tim,
Yeah.
Have a laser light show over the pond.
Yeah.
Perfect. Fireworks on the pond, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Next one, Ben.
All right, a follow-up from Peter Flato. He says, to be clear, changing in front of a unit is as much reducing the resale value as view.
Would you repeat that?
Yeah, there might be a word missing in there, but it says, to be clear, changing in front of a unit is as much reducing the resale value as view.
Changing, is that the word?
Changing,
Yeah.
and as far as changing the golf course in front of the unit or behind the unit.
Okay. Another one, Ben?
This is from Bob Alshaus. He says, our number 1 tees are not being used because of carry and width issues, not length of holes. My concern for the final golf course renovation would be making the number 1 tees too short, given the appearance that Stonebridge is moving in the direction of an executive type course.
I think there will be very minor change in the yardage on the scorecard. And some of the 1 tees are probably going to disappear just because they're not being used. The one that comes to mind right off the bat is 15. I've never seen a golf ball hit off that tee. But I don't think there will be a big change in yardage. And as we've said many times now, the 2 tees are about 6,000 yards. Most of our members play at about 55 or 5,400 yards. So optically, for new buyers, if they come here and see that the longest tees are 6,200 yards, I think some people would have concern over that, okay, making it think that it's a small golf course, but it plays much differently than 6,200 yards.
It didn't take us very long to learn that, Tom.
So that's
I said it didn't take us very long to learn that. You know, it's
That's
like,
right.
oh, this is great. You know, it's only 5,200 yards. Right.
That's right. That's right.
Right. You're right.
Well, I have to say, many's the time I hear a visitor get up there and say, hey, this is such a short course. And then you see them when they get off number 9. Excuse me, I have to go to the pro shop and buy some more balls. So, you know, it goes to our bottom line. Keep it short but hard. Next question, Ben.
All right, we got a question from Bill Fanning. So my question is specific to number 15. Was the original proposal adjusted in the current work that the golf course architect is working on? We do not accept that the pond needs to be filled in.
I would say, I guess the answer to that is yes. And there's no intention to fill in the pond on 15. And I mean, it's a very big pond. Now, we want to create a little space there as much as we can where those tees are right now. But I don't think there's anything dramatic there.
Okay.
Okay, Ben, next
All right,
one.
next question is from Dennis Murphy. It says, are we, the membership, to understand that we will not see the golf course changes which resulted from our submitted comments until at the earliest the town hall meeting? Will those of us who expressed concerns be hearing the reason for how our concerns were or were not addressed in the revised plan?
I think the answer is that that's about right. It will be around the town hall meeting. And Dennis, just to your specific call on number 12, I think there will be no cart path behind the 12th green, if that's your concern. Or no maintenance path, rather. It's not a golf path.
Okay, Ben, next one.
Peter Flato, just clarifying his previous comment, he was talking about moving water in front of a unit will affect the resale or the value and the view of the home. And then from James Gett, he says, from an entertainment noise viewpoint, I recommend that there also be design consideration given to the increased fine dining use of the veranda and the impact of the bistro's entertainment noise. The noise can make dining on the veranda unpleasant. This is specific to Friday nights where there's so much demand to sit outside on that veranda now. And then we have, you know, the loud music downstairs.
It's an issue. It's a definite issue. And it's basically the cause by the limited amount of space that we have. We have a whole group of people who love to be at the bistro on Friday night and listen to music. And we have an equal number of people who love to sit out on the veranda on Friday night and look at the view and have a lovely dinner. I don't know what the answer is.
Well, the answer is we'll have greater flexibility when we have the renovation. The way that we're looking at the plans, like I said, there's going to be a lot more ability to we call it flex space, but to be able to do different things back there. So I think there'll definitely be an opportunity to have the entertainment more focused on the bistro and less disruptive on the veranda. Not that you won't hear it, but that it's not overpowering, you know, to where you can't have a conversation upstairs.
That's great to hear, Tim.
Before the remodel, though, are you going to be able to have them tone it down a bit?
Yes.
Okay, Ben, next one.
That's all the questions we have from the members.
All right. All right. Dan, I'm sorry. You're muted, Dan.
One question before we go. By the time of the town meeting, considering the availability of the concept drawing, if we have that in place, will we be able to answer the very good question that Kathy raised some time ago, which is, what will the effect be on the operational costs for the club? We got an answer with regard to the golf course. I saw somewhere an answer that Mark said maintenance-wise, the changes wouldn't have an impact on maintenance costs. But changes at the bistro, fitness center, pool area would seem to have a greater impact. Will we get some idea of that? And that's probably a question for you, Tim, more so than Gail.
Yeah, and that won't be hard to do, especially now that we're getting a better idea as far as capacity, because that's really what's going to drive the operational costs. It won't be significant because we already have the bistro, so we're not adding another restaurant venue with a whole nother staff. It would be a larger kitchen, with a couple more people in the kitchen, and assuming we're doing 50% more covers, and would have a few more servers on the floor. So from an operational expense standpoint, it wouldn't be substantial, but we'll certainly run some numbers, and as well as for utilities.
So our next meeting, special board of director meeting is April 15th. So will we get together sooner to see these plans?
Kathy, what we're going to try to do is maybe have a series of meetings so we can hash out some maybe difficult questions that we don't really have an answer to now because we don't have enough information. But we'll also work as hard as we can to get as much information so that when the town hall meeting is held on the 19th of April, we can make a presentation that helps expand the understanding that the members have of what we're trying to do. I hope I didn't double talk you to death there.
Makes sense, Jim, makes sense.
Okay. All right, any other final comments or questions? All right. I want to just repeat for the people who are on the phone and watching and listening, if you have more questions, please do not hesitate to send them in, comments, etc. And we will do our best to respond to those. We don't want to go into any more meetings with rumors that are outlandish and people assuming the wrong thing. And with that, I will say thanks for coming, and the meeting is adjourned.
Thank you, Jim.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.